We call this our near north segment for a couple of reasons. The Black passes through the southernmost edge of Wisconsin's legendary Northwoods, and because it only takes 2 short hours to drive here from Madison and only 4 from the Chicago area. Another wonderfully appealing aspect of the Black is the diversity of venues the river offers. From crazy, intense whitewater to tranquil, laid-back family fun, here you'll find a paddling adventure just right for you. Come along with us and see for yourself. When the early explorers first came to the river in the mid-17th century, they called it La Rivière Noire, or Black River. No doubt because of its dark root beer color. The rich brown hue comes from tannin-stained water flowing out from neighboring tamarack, oak, and sphagnum moss bogs. Not long after Europeans discovered the beauty the valley possesses, members and associates of the fur trade industry moved in. As the world's seemingly insatiable appetite for North American furs began to dwindle in the first half of the 1800s, America's need for lumber began to skyrocket. One of Wisconsin's finest stands of enormous pines once stood along the Black River. By the 1890s, the pines were all cut and floated downriver to the sawmills in Black River Falls and beyond to help build our growing nation. Agriculture then took over the land, attracting hopeful immigrants from all over Europe. Now the area is best known for its dairy production. The Black River begins at the outlet of Black Lake in Taylor County and flows in a mostly southern direction towards La Crosse, where it eventually empties into the Mississippi. The Black is unique as it flows through 2 distinct geological regions. Above the town of Black River Falls, it flows through the glaciated central plains of Wisconsin. Here the hills are low and round, and there are numerous wetlands. The southern or lower section of the river flows through what is referred to as the unglaciated western upland region. This lower basin area is characterized by high rolling ridges with deep tapered valleys. Near the dividing line of these 2 regions was once the Great Falls of the Black River, but now contains 2 hydroelectric dams. One in the town of Black River Falls, forming the long, skinny Black River flowage, the other 13 miles upstream in Hatfield, where the 850-acre Lake Arbutus is formed. As there is a noticeable difference in terrain, there is also a very noticeable difference in the character of the river. Surprisingly, the upper portion has a much steeper gradient than the lower, despite flowing through flatter terrain. Here, the river drops at an average rate of 6.6 feet per mile, which in turn produces many rapids, ranging from easily paddled riffles to serious whitewater for the more experienced paddler. There's a short section between the 2 dams where there's a circuit of rapids that will certainly challenge thrill-seeking whitewater paddlers. This is especially true during the times of scheduled releases from the Hatfield Dam, when the added water produces many Class 2 and Class 3 rapids. Below the 2 dams, the river drops at a much lower rate, averaging only 1.7 feet per mile. Here it spreads out and slows down, making it perfect for paddlers who desire a much more relaxed outing. Sadly, we don't have the time to show you all of the great places to paddle while you're visiting the Black River. However, we believe we have put together a good sampling to get you started. We're going to begin on the upper portion of the river, above the 2 dams. We've picked this particular section of the river to show you as a preferred route due to its higher concentration of riffles and gentle rapids. We recommend that you begin your trip at the Greenwood Community Park and Campground. The distance on the river from here to the takeout at the Highway H Bridge is approximately 9 miles. About 1.5 miles after you start, you'll be greeted by the best rapids on this section. It's short and sweet, with a fairly well-defined path through. At higher water levels, large waves will form at the bottom. Extra caution should be used at these times. Our sources tell us the river can be paddled from at least as far upstream as where the Poplar River joins it. But keep in mind, with its steep 6.6 feet per mile drop, this upper stretch of the river is very dependent on rain to fill it up enough for enjoyable paddling. When there is enough water, you can expect countless rapids, ranging from harmless riffles to those requiring a certain degree of heightened paddling ability. The water level you see here, 625 cubic feet per second, on the river gauge located in Nelsville, is pretty typical for summer after a few days of rain. If it were any lower, it would be much more difficult paddling over and around the large boulders that make up much of the stream bed. The takeout at the Highway H Bridge is a bit of a steep walk up, but the safe off-road parking makes it well worth it. The East Fork of the Black flows from east to west through mostly county and state-owned forest land, and together with the main branch, fills up Lake Arbutus at Hatfield. Due to the convenience of the access points, we found the best trip on the East Fork is the 11-mile stretch between Prairie Road and the State Forest Campground. Here, you'll find a stream that rivals any other in untamed beauty and solitude. Although more subtle than most of the Upper Black, the East Fork still has plenty of riffles and easy rapids to excite paddlers. The current is moderate to slow in a pull and drop pattern, meaning there are varying distances of quiet, leisurely paddling, periodically interrupted by sudden drops in the riverbed. These drops in the river grow in intensity and frequency as you get closer to the lake, and could get difficult to safely maneuver levels, like those found in early spring. On the other hand, lower river levels during summer or dry spells can make getting through the boulder gardens impossible, without occasionally hopping out and getting your feet wet. There's no water level gauge on the East Fork. A simple way to tell if there's enough water is to take a short hike upstream from the takeout in the campgrounds and look at the last set of rapids. If it looks like you can make it through these okay, then we say go for it. The East Fork Campground is a great place to camp while you're paddling in the area. You can even reserve a site by contacting the Black River State Forest office. If what you're looking for is a relaxing, lazy float down a beautiful river, downstream from the town of Black River Falls is sure to please. The trip that you see us taking here, Mason's Landing to Irving, is relatively short at just 8 miles. We chose this stretch because of its close proximity to Black River Falls and because it is somewhat less traveled than the river is downstream. All along this lower portion of the river, there are convenient, well-placed access points, making it easy to design trips of various lengths or to plan a multi-day paddling adventure. Here, the river flows pleasantly around gentle curves through rolling farm country. The slow but steady current will carry you past expansive sandbars, which may entice you to stop and just sit a spell. After all, what's the hurry? Unlike above the dams, water levels down here are seldom low enough to be a problem. Do keep in mind that the flow is directly related to how much water is being discharged from the dam upstream in Black River Falls. The following is the general rule for judging river levels and, in turn, safely paddling the lower part of the river. If there are no gates open at the dam, it's safe for paddling. 2 gates open, above average paddling skills are recommended, and if 3 or more are open, canoeing is definitely not recommended on the river. The dam operator can open these gates at any time, raising the river level. So if you're doing an overnight camping trip, be sure to place your tent and canoes as high up on shore as you can without infringing on private property. If you need to rent a canoe or arrange a car shuttle, there are numerous canoe liveries and rentals available in the town of Black River Falls and all along the river's edge. In addition to the main river and its east fork, there are a few small tributaries of the Black that deserve mentioning. Halls and Morrison Creeks enter the river between the dams. Unfortunately, there isn't a water level gauge on either one. We can tell you this, though. Both need a considerable amount of rain to make them paddleable. When there is enough to float your boat, you can expect plenty of challenging Class 2 and a few Class 3 rapids on both of these. Below the dams, you'll find Little Robinson Creek entering the river from the east. It can also get too low for easy paddling during dry spells and has a section of challenging rapids. The short 6 miles between Old Highway I and Kelly Road is a fairly calm stretch to paddle, and one that's more likely to have enough water in it. Access to the creek is a bit steep at the put-in, but it's well worth the climb. We rate this creek as 2 thumbs up, and here's why. As the water tumbles over solid bedrock in the shadows of sculpted sandstone walls, the creek seems to rock you gently back in time to a primordial forest. The banks are covered in enormous ferns, and spectacular stands of pine trees form a canopy overhead. As you've just witnessed, this historic river offers an array of paddling diversity. We hope we've convinced you to put the near north Black River on your river's to-do list. Whether you're looking for a lazy family paddle or a challenging, heart-thumping adventure, the Black will not disappoint you. See you on the next river.